Diego Torres-Palma on the Fishbowl. Welcome.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to swim in the bowl with me. Awesome. I hope the temperature is just right.
We'll find out, right? We'll find out. Let's see.
Awesome. This is kind of a first for me. Usually my guests are more of like the film and entertainment people, but I'm glad to have you on the show as a fellow podcaster and entrepreneur. And let's talk about startup to storefront, your podcast.
Yeah, that's great. So basically, and thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. I really appreciate it. The podcast for me started as like a genesis to share the real journey of entrepreneurship. I think so much of the media, and this isn't the media's fault, but I just think we do a great job highlighting the rainbow, and then at the end of it, there's this beautiful pot of gold. And that's not often the case for entrepreneurship. And I think there's a tremendous amount of people that are either unemployed, especially right now, or furloughed or lost their job. And I think they're honestly thinking about starting their own business. And we kind of look at our podcast as a window into the hardships of startup. And so whether that's what is it really like to raise money? What is it really like to hire people? What is it really like to even exit and it's acquired? And we just look to share some of those truths and really inspire entrepreneurs through that truth. Because we know it's not, every day is not a sunny day.
Absolutely. And it's actually perfect timing, I have to say, on both our ends that you're actually a guest on my show, because I actually wanted to talk to you about all that stuff, because as of the last couple of weeks, I'm now in the process of actually trying to start my own business with the Fishbowl. I just invested some money in with a startup company with getting an app and website made, and now I'm going down the whole route of how do I go about hiring the people that I need to, with limited funds, and how do you raise the funds and stuff like that. So I figured that would be a great thing to talk about.
Yeah, one, congratulations. That's super exciting. I'm glad you're taking that step. I'll sort of tell the story in two ways. We've at this point, we've talked to over 70 entrepreneurs of all sizes. And so we've had some pretty well-known guests on the show, and we've had some people that have literally just dipped their toes into the podcast. And the one thing, or into their business rather, and the one thing I can share that I think makes the most sense is there's really two entrepreneurs. There's one group of entrepreneurs who they really love bootstrapping for some reason. Like they really love when it's hard and difficult, and they don't mind waiting until year 5, 6, or 7 to really scale, like to really become like a household name. And then there's the other entrepreneur that says, well, if I just do this right at the beginning, like on day 0, if I just commit to this journey, commit to raising capital, and commit to trying to become a household name in 1 year, they actually achieve it. And so one of the things, and there's two different strategies, and I think it really stems from confidence, right? I think at the end of the day, entrepreneurship is how much do you really believe in your product and what you're putting out there. And sometimes that's really personal, and sometimes that's really hard, especially in entrepreneurship, because you want it to be perfect. And you need to realize, especially with podcasting, like having a conversation, I'm sure it's not easy. It's not just like, oh, turn on the mic and have a conversation. It's like you have to have a direction. You got to know where to go. You got to deal sometimes with guests that aren't giving you very much, right? And so it's like there is an art to it. And so one of the things we did very early on is, obviously you can be on Apple and you can be on Spotify and Stitcher and all these podcast platforms. What we decided to do was we said, YouTube is actually the second largest search engine in the world. And we were always filming our interviews also. And so we said this is probably around month 3. And then I ended up hiring a guy who took a YouTube channel. He was the editor, and so he was the guy editing the videos and putting them up on YouTube and really running the YouTube channel. And he said, I can help you scale this thing to get, and he had done it before. He had a track record of taking a YouTube video and it blew up. Like it's got millions of subscribers now. And so I found him and I'm like, look, we don't have much money, but I'll give you the keys to the kingdom, so to speak, and we can agree on a number that's acceptable. He can really lean into building the credibility for himself of being able to launch a YouTube channel and monetize it. And so we went heavy into YouTube not too long ago, but now it's really starting to pick up for us. And so I think that's one tip. Really just lean into what you're doing right out of the gate. Hire the editor if you don't know editing, if you can, or if you like editing, or if you're into it, do it yourself. Totally up to you. We also have a social media manager, and so we hired someone to do all the socials for us. And I'll sort of stop there. Hopefully that was helpful, but I'll stop there. And then if you want to dig into anything else, just let me know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely not the one to do the editing myself.
Mm-hmm.
I've been using someone through social media. We've actually never even met in person or spoken on the phone or anything. But he happens to just do like a pretty decent job with in a professional job with what I give him, and his prices aren't too bad. But one of the things that you definitely mentioned with the editor and then the social media manager is like, I guess, ventures that I'm now pretty much getting ready to go down that route where I would need, because right now I'm pretty much putting all my money into getting the app up and everything, and that's a little costly. So
Mm-hmm.
what I would really like to do is basically, become like a startup company in a sense, and have, if you had any recommendations on uh, basically having people that can join a cause with an idea and everything, essentially with what I'm trying to sell, and form like a group, a partnership, and then kind of go from there without having it be as costly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I've done, I've started about three different companies, and I would say the first company I started, I didn't have any money to be honest, and so it was all equity. I was just saying, hey, look, if you join me, I'll give you, 5% of the company, 10% of the company, and really, really getting people excited about the idea, about the concept, about the goal. And so I think that's it. It's like you can totally get people to join you for no money, really, as long as they're so down for the journey and they're so down on that end goal. And so it's just really of how do you get to the point where you're conveying that thing and it's inspiring people. And then typically once someone's inspired, they're pretty happy to join, even if it's for a short time, but they're at least happy to lend themselves, lend their expertise, lend their help. And then what ends up happening, I've seen is once your product, once your app, once whatever it is you're working on gets some momentum, then they share in that glory too, and they love that, right? And then at some point you start monetizing it, and since they've been part of the beginning, you've made them an owner, and now they're a recipient of whatever it is you're monetizing.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, I'm like a part of some entertainment groups on Facebook and stuff like that. But what would be your recommendation to kind of like find the people to kind of join the cause on like which platforms would you network with the best?
Do you want to give me a sense of what your app's going to be is going to do? What do you want it to do, or what's kind of the end goal?
Well, basically with the app, it's going to have different subscription fees for the people to join to listen to the show, anywhere from like $1 to like $5 to like a high price range. And I actually just had a meeting today with someone from the company to basically set it up, and now it's like being reviewed. And once it's done being reviewed, I'm going to have another meeting with them to kind of like talk about what all they can offer from the app and everything. So I guess I'm still like waiting a little bit on that end to see what all like the capabilities of it are. But
Sure.
I can definitely say that I would definitely need like a social media manager, multiple editors if I could, or a really good editor who knows what he's doing, or possibly even a couple. And one of the things I was doing before like the whole COVID thing was going to like Comic Con conventions and horror conventions, and actually having like video footage of me doing interviews with people live and everything. So I'd even want like a video crew, to document stuff, because another thing that I also wanted to do locally, because I'm based out of Pittsburgh, and I wanted to basically go around to a lot of like the local businesses, like restaurants and comic book stores and music venues, and kind of interview the business owners and have them, talk about their business and what they're selling and everything. They kind of do like a mutual, promotion type thing, and hopefully then venture out to kind of do like airtime and stuff like that.
Got it. Got it. And do you have anyone right now? Do you have any editors right now?
I have the one guy that I've been using who's been doing a good job. I just have to email him whenever I have a new episode, and I have the funds to get it edited. But I don't have anyone locally, because I guess the best idea would be if I could find, I guess, people around Pittsburgh, with the same interests, which I know there are, to kind of join the fishbowl cause, in the sense that I need them to. I feel like that could be a good start.
Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say my editors, my entire team right now is in Ohio. Same, just like you, I've never met them in person, and right now it works. And then locally, it's funny, man. The co-founder of the podcast his name is Nick, and he's actually a video editor and producer. And so a long time ago, we were just friends, and my wife got on HGTV because he made a video of this renovation we did. I was like, hey, can you just make a quick video because I want to put it on Instagram? And he made this video, and then sure enough, all these HGTV producers reached out to us, and she ended up getting she's a builder, but also got on the show. So she was the builder and plays the builder on this TV show. And at some point, Nick and I was like, Nick, I really want to start a podcast. Would you be up for like working with me, really? And my job is to get the talent, right? So my job is to do the interview, get the people on, book them, and then his job is just to edit. And sometimes he joins too, and sometimes he'll ask questions. And effectively, both of us were working for free at the beginning, and it really just like a co-founder type of relationship where and it sounds like that's something you could do too, where you have the expertise in terms of interviewing, probably in terms of finding these guests, and then having the ideas like Comic-Con to get the content. And then you just need like a co-founder to sort of be your left hand, right? To do all the other stuff that you might not excel at. And so it might be that, just find a business partner specific to handle all those things. And for Nick, I think especially right now because of COVID, a lot of producers aren't really doing much. I know they're just starting to get back into it, but they have a lot of free time. And so it could be an opportunity where for them it's just they join you as a way to like flex their muscles, right? And do something fun, do a side project that probably doesn't take up too much time in the beginning. And as you guys grow and scale, they can be part of that too. And so I don't want to say convincing them to join you, but it's almost like I think what you're doing is exciting, and I know other people will too. And so just getting into like these different video, or even if you know a video producer, and just having them put it into their network of like, hey, you're looking for a business partner to grow the Fisch Bowl.
It's actually funny you say that because my show kind of like consists more of like the entertainment side. I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything here, but like I'm pretty sure that like my friends on Facebook at this point kind of consist of like more people in the industry than, than my actual like regular friends. So there's definitely a bunch of people I feel like I could contact, and there's some I've even had on the show before. It's I guess my next question is, how do you go about phrasing something like that to get them to hopefully join?
I think it's twofold. I think it's almost like the way I always do it is I have to have the concept myself, right? And so I have to say, here's what we're going to do. We're going to interview these people. We're going to ask them these questions, and then we're going to create a bunch of content to inspire entrepreneurship over time. And then at some point, we're just going to become like a household name or like a Joe Rogan type podcast. And really knowing what that is for you too. And so you could say like, this is where we're at today. Here's our group of people that we've had on the show, and here are the people that I'm trying to get. And then these are like my stretch goals. These are the people that I would just die to have on the show, but we're going to get there together. And so I think communicating that vision is probably the most important part, to be honest. And then, and from your own perspective, just really having down the strategy. And so having down like, we're going to go to these events, and if Comic-Con's one of them and the person you're talking to isn't excited about Comic-Con, then that's okay. You're probably talking to the wrong person, you know? And really getting that sort of that interaction, that vision sent over to them so that they really understand it and they're excited. They're excited to be part of that journey. I know that sounds kind of crazy or maybe not so, no, it's not like math where it's like, what does 1 + 1 equal? But frankly, it's just having the vision down, having the strategy down, and then just being able to communicate that vision and get someone else excited about it. And generally speaking, I mean, very few people join anything, right? It's like they want to be inspired. They want to go to work and be excited to be a part of this particular thing. That's what excites them. That's what keeps people going. And so it's really just getting that vision down and then talking to the person who really wants to be a part of it.
Okay. I definitely see where you're coming from, and it's actually given me a couple ideas of people to possibly contact, where to take this, and even maybe like posting on some groups saying like, I'm looking for these types of people for these roles with this kind of incentive. Would anybody like to join? I actually made a post right before the whole COVID thing happened, and I was able to find someone to go to a horror convention with me and do like the whole video footage thing, and he did it all for free, and was editing it all for free too, and it seemed to work pretty well. So I guess going through the process of finding the right people to say, hey, I would love to join up.
Yeah, and I think too, it gets exciting. Like, I mean, at the beginning, it's tough, but once you have like one of your big guests on, like maybe even one of the people that you've been trying to get for a long time, and you got the momentum, the people you're working with will feel it, and they'll be like, "Wow, we're really onto something." And that motivation is so good. It's like we had Sophia Bush on the podcast pretty early on, who's obviously a famous actress, and it just gave a lot of credibility to our podcast, but it also inspired the team, right? It's like people were excited. They were like, "Oh my God." And then when that happens, and you're in the Hollywood circuit, right? So everyone you bring on has their own, probably their massive followings. And so once the people that you bring on the team start even hearing like from their friends, like, "Oh my God, you got this person on? Like, wow, your podcast is killing it. Your show is killing it." That motivation is pretty exciting because it tells first of all, it tells your whole network that you're onto something, but it also gets the internal team pretty excited about what's next.
Right, exactly. And it's kind of sucked recently because I've actually been working like so much that I've had hardly any time to like do the podcast. And it actually when Rachel emailed me to see about having you come on the show, it was like it was perfect timing because my schedule just started to like clear up a bit, and I'm now having time to like start booking people and going back full throttle with the show, and now with the app and website coming out. So I'm really happy to have you on the show and be talking to you about all this stuff. It was like perfect. It was like perfect timing coincidence type thing.
I love that. Yeah. And I think, one of the things we do too from a podcast perspective, we'll stack guests. Like obviously Nick he's over in Apple right now shooting a bunch of commercials for them. So he's in Cupertino. And so he's locked up. Like it's basically a bubble. Like he's there for a month and he's sleeping there and the whole bit. And so he's gone. And so what we do is we just stack guests because we all have schedules. And so sometimes we'll have like 2 days of 6 interviews. And then that's it, and then we're done, right? From a content production standpoint, and then our editors are editing it while we're on our other projects, and so you for sure have to find ways to like get really efficient at it, or if you only have one open day, just stack all the guests and then release. I guess you release it when you get to it. That's kind of the only bummer because sometimes if you're talking about relevant topics like the election or something, you want to release that episode in a timely fashion, but if not, then it's all good.
Right. And part of it, to be honest, on mine is a little bit of procrastination.
Sure.
I think we all have that sometimes. But like I said, my schedule is like definitely clearing up now. So I definitely feel like going full throttle with everything, especially getting the app and everything. I feel like it's now becoming like an official thing that could hopefully lead to me quitting the job that I'm at now and making this thing like, the dream, thing, working for yourself and doing what you love.
Yeah, I mean, look, taking the first step is huge. And I think one thing I always tell people like yourself and new business owners is, you can lean into procrastination. I really tell them that. Like, if you're doing something that you don't like doing, don't do it. I think that's it's kind of this unwritten rule of entrepreneurship. Your mental is telling you something when you're not excited about what you're doing. And for some people, that's just them going to their job. They're just not excited about going to work anymore. And that's when I just say, okay, you should probably quit doing that. And then for other people, it's like, I really hate going to, let's say, the gym or something like that, or doing this specific workout. And I'm like, then don't do that workout. Do something else that makes you a little bit more excited about your day, but gives you the same benefits. Yeah, same thing for you. It's like if you're doing something that you don't necessarily love, like, try not to do it. Put that energy into something else. So maybe do the same thing, but in a more creative way, or find a different outlet.
Right, right. Unfortunately, like I need something to pay the bills right now.
Right.
But the fact that like they're kind of easing up a little bit on me is now that I have that free time, where before it was like, I'm either too tired or I literally don't have the time.
Mm.
It's now like coming back full throttle, and it's like now's the time. You basically worked enough that you saved up what you need to save up, and now's the time to really focus on making what you want to do a reality. I have a friend, a good friend. He actually designed my logo, and he's actually I've had a few screenplays make it into film festivals and stuff, and he's also designed posters for them as well. And he's really talented. He's a graphic designer friend, and we were both working at this ad agency for a little bit, and I was there pretty much like a month, and then I was done. But he pretty much stuck there for like a good couple years, and he absolutely hated it. He dreaded going to work every single day, but he kept doing it, and he basically saved up enough money, and he wanted to do like tattooing full time, and he basically worked his ass off and took an entrepreneurship, and now the guy is like pretty much working for himself and doing what he wants to do, and he quit working at that horrible ad agency and is pretty much doing what he wants to do now with his own business. And if I can get to that goal, that point, with basically working at a job you need to work to kind of get you to where you need to go to make the dream, essentially, that's worth it to me. So I definitely think I'm on the right track now, and definitely talking to you and everything about the next steps is huge. So I definitely appreciate it, and I'm definitely happy having you on the show.
I appreciate it. Yeah. And I think it takes years too, I think it takes, I just had a friend of mine who he was an engineer, and he was working for 2 years on one of the biggest pipeline projects over in Houston, Texas, and in the energy sector. And he was just saving money. I mean, for 2 years, not doing anything, not going out, right? Just eating ramen essentially. And then he literally quit his job in August, and now he's launching a distillery where he'll make vodka, gin, and whiskey in Houston, Texas. And it's just one of those things where it's like we all want it to happen overnight. Like for him, it took 2 years to save the money he needed, and now he's probably like a year away from making any money at the distillery. But just having that mindset of this might take 3, 4, 5 years is, I think, super important, and in some way takes kind of the pressure off too, because it's like if you need to monetize it right away, that's a lot of pressure, and you're going to get really upset very quickly. And so just having the perspective of we got like for us, I always, whenever I talk to Nick or anyone on the team about the podcast, I'm like, this is a 10-year thing for me. Like this is like we found some land and we're just building it, and it's not real estate, it's a digital asset, but we're going to take our time with this skyscraper, and these things happen very slowly, very organic.
Absolutely. it's definitely great that you have that team kind of like built for you, and a group of friends to kind of like be in the partnership with you. It's definitely something that I definitely want to aim to have myself.
Yeah, it took a while too. I'll be honest. We had a different social media person when we first launched, and we had interviewed like 20 people. Yeah, I'll say this much: like I was just sold on this one individual, and then didn't deliver at all. I mean, awful. And so we had to let go of that person, and so there are iterations to this too. You got to find someone who really fits in with what you're trying to achieve, and who also like knows the algorithms better than you. Like one of the things I always look for is if I can do what you're doing, there's probably a problem, right? Like I want to hire people who are way better at that specific task than I could ever be. And that's the hard part, because sometimes you're going to be wrong, right? You're going to hire the wrong person, and you just have to act fast and say, oh, this didn't work out, all good, and then go back to the drawing board.
Right, right. What would you say are, I guess, like the key components that someone would need, either myself or someone, who has an idea? What would be for a podcast, I guess, what would be the core crew members that someone would need to make like a successful venture?
Yeah, this is probably the most important question. It's a great question, and I think I've stumbled into this answer. It probably took me 8 months to get to like the real thing. And what you want on your team are people who really understand, or at least like, and let's talk about social media first. You want someone on your team in the social media world who really understands the algorithms and how they work. Now, they don't need to be a coder. They don't need to know the ins and outs of every little thing as it relates to the algorithm, but it's important for them to know, when does YouTube start to really care about you? And what do you have to do to get YouTube to start to care about you? And then the other sectors are like Spotify and Apple Podcasts and Stitcher, and then really focusing in on which one do you want to grow in, right? And so in the YouTube world, I'll just give you like a quick tip. YouTube's great. It's the second largest search engine in the world, and it's really difficult to get 100 subscribers to your channel. YouTube makes it very difficult because they want you to produce really good content so you organically get your first 100. Once you get 100, the algorithm says something like, oh, this person's a creator and they really are investing a lot of time in our platform. Let's start boosting, or at least getting them a little bit more viewership. And so now they start recommending your channel a little bit more. And so going from 100 to 1,000 subscribers is actually significantly easier than getting your first 100. And that's just because that's how the YouTube algorithm is. They want to reward creators who are willing to stick around in the platform. And it's a good thing, I think, because it makes you legit. It's like if you're just dabbling, YouTube isn't going to do much for you. But if you're committing to the platform, you get rewarded from the platform. And so to go back to answer your question, it's like really, really knowing or having someone on your team who understands that cadence. They're not afraid of it. They know it's a long-term play, and they know the work involved. That's what I would say with at least YouTube. On these other platforms, it's really interesting because right now, if you just look at just regular podcasts, Apple dominates the space. It's probably like 90% of podcast listeners are listening via Apple Podcasts. And so you want to bring in someone who knows that. And as a strategy, like a high-level strategy, you also need to pick a platform you want to be on, right? And so for us, the way I think about it is, if I had to pick one outlet for people to find me, is it going to be YouTube or is it going to be Apple Podcasts? And we had to make this decision when we decided, and we probably decided this after like six or 7 months of being in business. We said, we're going to pick YouTube. And the reason we're picking YouTube is because it's got way more eyeballs than Apple Podcasts. And it also gives us way better data. Any of these current podcast sites like Spotify or Apple Podcasts, they give you very little data on who's listening. And so you don't really know, where YouTube will tell you this is the demographic, this is where they're tuning in from, this is how long they're staying. Having like a feedback loop of what to improve upon is super helpful. Same thing with like thumbnails, right? It'll say like, oh, this video is doing better than this one. And so I think getting people who really understand what you're trying to achieve and the cadence involved is really nice. I think it's probably the most important piece. And so just to recap, for us as a strategy, it was like, we're going into YouTube. We know the algorithm's going to take a while. We know getting 100 subscribers is going to be painful, but we also know once we're there, it gets significantly easier. And because it's the basically visited website in the world, the second highest, it makes sense for us to be there. We want to be where eyeballs are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so just and if you find someone that has some experience with either YouTube, then generally speaking, they know it's not going to happen overnight, and it sets the tone for everyone's expectations on the team too.
Awesome. I started out on YouTube, and I was doing well for a little bit. Then, like, a period of time went by where I wasn't posting consistently, and that I went through like a different editor, and it wasn't going, as well as I wanted. And then I just kind of like figured I'd phase out YouTube because I wasn't like doing video with any of my interviews. It was essentially like audio with like
Mm-hmm.
montage like stills of the movie scenes or who I was talking to over the audio, and I kind of like figured I'd switch to Spotify and Apple Podcasts because at the time I guess I was going for more of like an audio platform, but with the fact that I want to like go back into doing like video with doing like live interviews and stuff, because I think right now if I could find someone to do live interviews with, especially locally at local businesses and restaurants and stuff like that, which is like really struggling to maintain business, and if I could really find someone to edit it in a quick prompt manner and get stuff up, I would probably consider having YouTube be the main platform as well, like you're doing. But right now, I guess I'm kind of sticking to Apple and Spotify.
So that's great. And the one thing I'll say, so that's even better, right? So I'm not suggesting that you change your strategy, but if your strategy is audio only, then you're kind of in this beautiful place where right now you have Spotify, who's the clear number two in terms of podcasts, in terms of audio, and obviously them purchasing Joe Rogan for $100 million is significant because they're trying to compete with both YouTube and be the number one podcasting station out there. And one of the things that they're doing is they're actually allowing podcasters to create ads, and those ads will come up when someone's listening or basically it's an interruption, but it gives people a sense of your ads. And I've spoken to 4 or 5 different groups who have gone ahead, and it's so great. So Spotify actually makes the ad for you. So all you do is say, this is the copy. You pick whether it's a male or female voice, and then you pick the duration of the ad. You hit submit, they go ahead and record it, they send you the recording, they're like, if you like it, you move forward. You have to spend $250 is their minimum right now, but they're the only platform that's allowing podcasters to advertise. And I spoke to 4 or 5 different people doing this, and they all said they've seen incredible returns as it relates to listenership. Like, it actually is working. And so in this setting, you're kind of riding the tailwinds of a platform of Spotify who wants to take the number one spot. And if you're willing to play ball, I think it's kind of like it's new land. And so it's great. It's like, so just to sum up the story, we're in the process of creating our own ad, which will contain video, and we're going to run it on Spotify and see how it does. But we're only doing it because the 4 or 5 companies I've spoken to are all seeing amazing results. And similar to you, they don't do any video. They just do all audio. And so it's a quick way to get growth, or at least get your word out, get the buzz out around the podcast.
Very interesting. I'm gonna have to definitely look into that. I kind of spent my money this month on getting the app up and everything, but that's definitely valuable information. I'm definitely gonna look into that because with the app coming up and everything, I would definitely be willing to venture into something like that to try it out, to further promote the app and the podcast at the same time, because I'm using a Buzzsprout to host my podcast. So it basically posts to Spotify and Google Play and Apple Podcasts and all at the same time. And it's going to be linked to my app once it's up and running. So to kind of like test the waters with something like that, I'd totally be willing to kind of like try it out.
Yeah, no, I think you should. And if anything, I mean, just pick the platform you really want to win on and just promote that. Because obviously the challenge too with podcasting, right, is that you have all these links, right? It's like, where do you want to direct people? Do you want to direct them to Google Play if they have the Droid? Do you want to direct them to Apple Podcasts or Spotify? And making these decisions is kind of not ideal because you don't know what they like or what their main listening channel might be. And so I would just pick the one that you guys really want to hit and nail, and then only share that link, or even the Buzzsprout link, which I think allows them to listen via the web. Some other things that we do that I think are super helpful is whenever we make content, whoever the guest is, or like the social media team of the guest that we've had on the show, 2 days before we release, we actually share the episode with them, and we're like, here's the thumbnail, here's the link. Would you guys please share it on your social? And when they do that, that's when we see incredible listenership, because it's not us promoting ourselves, right? It's like the founder or this individual saying, hey, had a great interview with Diego and the team at Startup Storefront. Check it out. And for sure, it's a different audience, right? It's an audience that we couldn't get anyway. And so that's another thing that we've gotten better at. We didn't do that at the beginning, but we're doing that now. And so anytime you have a guest, just try to get them the content beforehand, and then just say, hey, we're releasing it tomorrow, 10 a.m. Can you help us out? Share it on your socials. And generally speaking, people do, right? Because it's like they took the time to take the interview, so they don't, you know what I mean? It's like they're trying to help too. It helps them in some way also.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. I was not doing that. I was basically trying to do the one man show.
Right.
The one time that I actually did an interview with Dee Wallace, horror icon. She was the mom in E.T. and she asked me to send her the interview when it came out, and I sent it to her, and then the same day, basically, or like a day later or something, like she tagged me on Facebook and like shared the interview on her whole social media platform, and that interview is now like one of my most popular interviews that still gets listened to.
That's awesome. Yeah. It's funny, when we first started, we didn't do that, and now even in talking about it, right, it sounds so obvious, but it's one of these things where I think there's like a confidence that you have to be willing to ask. I'll give you a window into what else we're doing. So sometimes we have brands on, like the founders of certain products. And so what we're doing next is we're actually having them, so pre-interview, we have them send us the products. And, this sounds like a free way to get products, but it's not that. And what we do is we take the product and we're actually making a reel with it on Instagram. And so our social media team, the product is sent to our social media team. They make a reel with the product. And then they'll also pepper in some audio clips of the interview. And then once we release the episode, we do a giveaway of that product. And so now you see what I'm saying? It's like we're helping the brand also, and we're doing something fun where if you tuned into the episode and you heard all about this almond milk, let's say, right? It's like, you probably want to try it. So now we're just giving people an easy way to just enter the giveaway. But at the same time, it's like we're doing a pretty good video of this product. And so we're having some fun with it, and we're using Instagram Reels to promote it. And so it's just kind of full circle, right? Where it's like we're also providing value to the brands that come on. And we're just starting to do that. And I think we're going to do our first one in November of this year. And then hopefully we'll just keep it going all through for all future guests.
Awesome. Yeah. That's definitely something I would like to venture into as well. And it's also kind of like a similar idea I had with kind of like going to the local businesses if I can get like a video crew. Not to say like I expect like a free meal at a restaurant or something, but mutually like promote stuff like that with the intention of like helping each other out in a sense,
Yeah, no, for sure. It's funny. I have a friend who he started going to restaurants just to do he bought a new camera, and he was like, I want to test my new camera out, and he had done some editing before, but he just wanted to test this out, but he wanted to do it for a restaurant that was like currently hurting because of COVID. And so he reaches out to the owners, and they're like, all right, yeah, you can come in and do your thing. And he's like, great. And he did it for free. And he made this like really cool video showcasing the cooking process of this certain restaurant. They loved the video so much that they ended up hiring him. And then, And so he was able to monetize not so much the content, but just the video that he was making. And now he's doing it as a side hustle. He's just going to other restaurants being like, hey, I made this video for this. Would you guys want a video too? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, great, $500. And now he's doing it for a bunch of restaurants too. And so I think that's one thing that I love about podcasting is you never know how you can monetize it just by getting listeners. But like our social media team, they've been asked, just because some of the brands that have come on are so impressed by them, that they've like reached out to me saying, hey, Diego, can we hire them? And I'm like, oh, of course, they're freelancers. Of course, please do. And so they've been able to get some other jobs simply because of their posting and of the content that they create for our podcast. And same thing with Nick on our team. He's, if someone comes on a podcast and they see that Nick's a great editor and producer, then anytime that they're making a commercial or something for their own product, they immediately think of Nick. There are benefits to podcasts that aren't so, let's say, linear, but more like tangential that people do monetize.
Awesome. That's all very, very helpful information. We're gonna have to cut it about here. I like to have my interviews go about an hour, and I actually have to. I have an appointment I have to get to. But I have two closer questions for you. Just kind of like as my routine here. One's related and one's totally off subject, but being the fishbowl, I like to ask the question, and that is the last two are what are some of your favorite films, and do you have any upcoming projects to promote?
I have one favorite film, and it's by Guy Ritchie. It's the movie called Snatch. It's my absolute favorite film of all time. Like, hands down, I love everything in it. Brad Pitt, Don Cheadle. You have a lot of actors who, they were famous, but they weren't that famous yet, And I think that movie, Snatch, just showed him in such a different light. And I just love the cinematography. I love the direction. There's not a thing about the movie that I don't like. So easy, Guy Ritchie, Snatch. That's an easy one. And then upcoming projects. Let's see, we're doing something pretty cool. So we do real estate development also. That's another part of another job, another company I started, and we're actually going to be putting a coffee truck inside of a building, and it's going to have to-go coffee, but it's like a museum piece vehicle. And so it's this really cool concept. We're doing it here in West Hollywood, right on Santa Monica Boulevard. And so we just submitted the drawings to the city today, actually, this morning. And so hopefully by the end of 2021, there'll be this really cool, iconic coffee truck giving people coffee in West Hollywood.
Awesome. I have to just Snatch is one of my all-time favorite movies as well, especially from Guy Ritchie. And I'm wondering if you knew this little movie trivia about Brad Pitt's character. Guy Ritchie apparently had like all this dialogue written for Brad Pitt to say, and Brad Pitt day one showed up on set and was doing that like gibberish, gypsy accent. And Guy Ritchie basically was like, loved it so much, he said to him, can you just do that the whole movie? And that's how that character with that dialogue came in, because he's essentially just speaking gibberish the whole movie and like improvising the lines, and that wasn't like originally supposed to happen.
I love it. I did not know that. That's amazing. Yeah, he does such a good job. It's like the Piker accent or something.
Pikey accent. Yeah.
Pikey. Do you like dogs? Dags. What? Dogs. Do you like dogs? Oh, that's such a great movie. I love that movie. I want to watch it now. You brought it up.
I'm also wanted to ask you, did you have a chance to see The Gentleman yet?
I did, and I got to be honest, I think it probably is just me. I'm clouded because I love Snatch so much that when I see something that is similar, and obviously Guy Ritchie stays in his lane to some extent, I liked it. I wasn't a huge fan, but I liked it. It's not a movie I'd watch again, though, so that's just me being candid.
Sure thing. I enjoyed it. I think my favorite part, though, my two favorite parts were when they played Old Dirty Bastard, Shimmy Shimmy Ya, and just the fact that Guy Ritchie has pretty much single-handedly resurrected Hugh Grant's.
That was pretty miraculous. That whole scene. I was like, are you kidding? He got away with doing this? Really well done. I mean, that's out of the box.
Right, right. And just how like he, we pretty much remember Hugh Grant as like the adorable, romantic comedy guy,
Right.
who was from the '90s, and seeing him in that role as just like a sleazeball, that he played so well. I have to give kudos to him, and now like I'm seeing him pop up, and like he has like some special or mini series or something coming out on HBO. So it's all to Guy Ritchie.
I love it. That's funny. I didn't know that. That's Yeah, you're right. I just remember. Well, every time I see Hugh Grant, I just think of Love Actually. I'm like,
Yeah,
ah,
yeah.
he's Love Actually again. Here he is.
The,
Which is
the, the
he
one,
plays great. He does that role so incredibly well.
right,
But yeah,
right.
it was good to see him in a
The
different
one
role.
I always think of is 9 months.
Okay.
Mainly because I was a huge Robin, but
Well, thanks for having me on, brother. I appreciate it. Good chat. Hopefully this was helpful.
it was very helpful, very helpful. I'm gonna follow you on social media and everything. Please, follow me back, and I'll let you know whenever the interview is posted.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I think I'm actually already following you, but if not, I'll double check right now. But yeah,
Okay.
let me know when it's posted, and I'll help you get it out there.
Awesome, awesome. Sounds good. Well,
All right.
Diego, thank you so much for taking the time to swim in the bowl with me. Again, I hope the temperature was just right.
Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.